Special Presidential Coordinator Amos Hochstein, thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
Thank you so much. We all know in Lebanon that without the consent of the Iranians and Hezbollah, there will not be a deal reached between Lebanon and Israel. What's your take on that?
My job was to mediate really between Israel and Lebanon, between the sovereign government of Lebanon and the sovereign government of Israel. That's who I met with. That's who we're discussing the details of this negotiation with. And I think the Lebanese people deserve to have a government that does what's good for the Lebanese people, not with external factors or other governments. So
the Elysee has issued a statement saying that without the French support, a deal between Lebanon and Israel would not be reached. Did the French, were the back channels playing a role to talk to the Iranians from one side and Hezbollah from the other side?
No.
I mean, because some reports came in lately and showed that the French had to make some talk, either through Total or with the Iranians especially, to get their consent on this, not to block the deal.
Look, I think that there's always a lot of rumors of what kind of back channels there were. President Biden was grateful that President Macron and the French government were helpful in this process. They obviously care deeply about what happens in Lebanon. And I met with French government representatives on a regular basis when I was in Lebanon. And we were grateful that they were able to be helpful in this. But no, I don't think the kind of support that you're discussing is not what was happening here.
No, I'm trying to focus just to see if Iran, starting from what you're saying, so they had goodwill, not blocking the deal.
Let me be very clear. The negotiation between the United States and Lebanon and Israel had nothing to do with Iran. This was in any way, shape, or form. I am grateful of the fact that President On and Speaker Berry and Prime Minister Mikati represent the Lebanese people as their leaders, and they were the ones that made this decision with the support of their team. And there was a hardworking team here with Deputy Speaker Elias Boussab and the senior advisor to Speaker Berry, Ali Hamdan, and General Abbas Ibrahim and others were all involved at different stages in helping move this negotiation further. But I want to be very clear. This was a decision made by the Lebanese government for the Lebanese people, and on behalf of that was what was best for the country. There was no other channel to other countries.
So the Lebanese people are happy with the deal. We've witnessed that, but also they're concerned about how the money will flow in the country. Either it goes back to the pockets of the corrupted political leaders, or for Hezbollah too. I know this is a sovereign decision. It should be made by the Lebanese government. How would you guarantee that this will not happen?
Look, I appreciate that the Lebanese people, two things I appreciate. That the Lebanese people are happy that a decision was made, because I think that they deserve, after the last several years of so much despair economically, that they deserve some hope and the opportunity for growth, and not to think that the only way that they can make a living and to support their families is to think about leaving the country to get a job somewhere else. Lebanon is a remarkable country, a beautiful country with amazing people. Lebanese people are running the best and the most important parts of finance and medical sciences in the United States and the Persian Gulf and in Europe. They should be doing it in Lebanon and building Lebanon. And I also appreciate that Lebanese people recognize that it's not a given that the money will flow into the budget of the country for the country, that it is a risk that there will be corruption here and that money will go where it shouldn't. And we in the United States want to do everything we can to support that goal of Lebanese people, that whatever revenues come, when they come, will benefit the country and benefit the people, that the natural gas that comes out makes sure that Lebanon has 24 hours a day of electricity, first and foremost.
But it's going to take around 6 to 8 years for the Lebanese people to feel the wealth of this deal or the positive side. But in the meantime,
Well, I think that it'll be faster than that, because I think some things have to happen. So yes, it will take a few years to develop a gas field. That is for sure. Nothing happens very quickly. However, in order to develop a gas field, you're now going to have, for the first time in a very, very long time, foreign direct investment. Companies like Total and Eni, who are coming in to develop the gas field in Lebanon, have to do work. There's exploratory work. There's things that it begins the investment in the country. And now I already know that there are other companies that have told me, American companies, European companies, who've told me, if there is a deal, and that means that there's stability and the chances for conflict go down and it's safe and secure in Lebanon, I'll come and invest. There's business opportunity. So I think that you're going to see immediately or relatively quickly a change in how companies see the opportunity for investment. But you raise a critical point, and that is that the Lebanese leaders, those who are in office today and those who will be in office for the next couple of years, there are going to be some changes perhaps, and they will have to prove to the Lebanese people that the funds and the investments and the decisions are made on behalf of the Lebanese people are not for their own interests, but for the interests of the people, that it goes in a open, transparent way.
so we don't have no power. People mostly lost their money in the banks. And does the United States have any rescue plan for the country, a bailout for the banks, maybe like what Germany did for Greece, so this country would be more stable, as you mentioned, in the meantime, before we get that wealth after a few years?
Well, I think that obviously there are discussions with Lebanon regarding an IMF package. There is a discussion around bringing gas in from Egypt into Lebanon to do a lot of the...
What happened with that deal? Because it's also,
what happens
we were
with
promised last August.
Well, but what happens with these kinds of deals is that it's never a one-sided thing where the international community or others just give money. There has to be an arrangement where there's reforms that are done in Lebanon in order to be able to get that. And it is finances and funds from the rest of the world. So the gas from Egypt is supposed to be financed by the World Bank. What does the World Bank mean? It's not a real bank. It is money that is contributed by governments around the world. Largest contributor to the World Bank is the United States, as you know. And there are certain reforms. Some have been done. Some can be done in a matter of days from now, and I believe that it will. I believe the government right now is finalizing those reforms. If those very minor reforms are announced in the next several days in Lebanon, then I can tell you that we're going to be able to accelerate the process. And this deal that we're signing now is going to accelerate in itself to World Bank to support this gas deal from Egypt, which means that you're going to have 4 to 6 hours more of electricity per day in Lebanon. And maybe that unlocks, right after that, an electricity interconnection with Jordan, which can give you a few more hours. And so we can get to that 8 to 10 hours a day of electricity that every Lebanese will have, up from, what is it today, less than 2 hours a day for some Lebanese? So how do you build an economy? How do you rescue an economy? How do you improve the prospects? How do you attract businesses to invest if there's not reliable and affordable electricity throughout the country?
Last question, it's OPEC plus question. I see this administration and the Congress are so angry at Saudi Arabia. They're just indicating that they are trying to secure their national economical interest by lowering the production of the oil and gas. And why they've also been accused that they're taking side with Putin in this war.
Well, I think what you saw was that a decision was made by OPEC to announce a reduction of production by 2 million barrels, which is a very large reduction of production, at a time when prices are very high. So on the day this decision was made, I think oil prices were at $87 or $88. That's very high prices. This is not going to have a major impact on the U.S. economy. We have the strongest economy and the fastest growing economy in the world at the moment in the United States. But if you're Lebanon and you're buying fuel oil right now, and you're trying to buy natural gas right now, and you're trying to buy heating oil, and you're trying to buy gasoline, it's going to affect you. And if you're countries in developing countries and low-income countries and middle-income countries around the world that are already suffering from high energy prices, that's who's going to pay the price. And you know who's going to benefit from this higher price? The one guy that's trying to finance a war that he's losing. Lebanon and Lebanese people should be the most concerned about what happens in Ukraine from anyone in the world. Nobody wants a world order in which one guy decides, I want to invade another country just because I think it's mine, or it's historically part of a bigger country. And you know what I mean. I don't think people should do that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. And especially when they then are fighting against a heroic effort by the Ukrainian people and the Ukrainian military. And they can't win, by the way. They're losing this war. But what they need is money to finance it. And what OPEC did here, in our opinion, was a mistake. And the only beneficiary is not even OPEC. The beneficiary is Russia on this one. And the loser, let me tell you, I guarantee you, the loser is not the United States, and it's not even Europe. The people who lost on this equation, on this decision, were countries like Lebanon. When your gasoline prices go up, when your diesel prices go up, when the fuel that people have to use for their generators because they don't have electricity from the grid in Lebanon, when that cost goes up. That's because of this OPEC decision. And why are the prices high to begin with? Because we have a senseless, brutal war in Europe where the third largest oil producer in the world decided to invade another country. And if you go to sub-Saharan Africa or Central Asia or Southeast Asia, and countries there are suffering from these kinds of energy costs anyway, to come in the middle of that at almost $90 a barrel and say it's not enough. We want more. And that's when rich countries say they want more, when less fortunate countries are barely making it with the costs that are already there. That's not fair, it's not right, it's not just, and it wasn't necessary. The prices were already high. There was no collapse in oil prices. So all we've done is we've expressed our disappointment in the action that OPEC has taken and that OPEC Plus has taken. And we hope that they take different actions in the future. Because what we want to see is countries like Lebanon prosper. That's what I've been working on since I came back to government. You and I met each other in Lebanon a few years ago when I was already then trying to work on a better scheme, trying to bring, even at the time, renewable energy to Lebanon and solar power to Lebanon. Country with enormous amounts of sun. Don't rely only on the natural gas. Export the gas. Power your country with renewable energy. That's the good deal that Lebanon can probably make.
Amos Hochstein, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.